Good afternoon. In the last class, we go through the Z transform, its region of convergence, properties of region of convergence, finally, some mathematical computation of Z transform and their ROC. Now, considering some standard signals, we have its corresponding Z transform. We have to know their Z transform in the positive power of Z as well as in the negative power of Z. Also, we have to care about the region of convergence. For an impulse signal, the Z transform is 1 and the region of convergence is the whole Z plane. Next, for the unit step signal u of n, the Z transform is Z upon Z minus 1, or in the negative powers of Z, we can write 1 upon 1 minus Z raised to minus 1. Here, the region of convergence is mod Z greater than 1. And for u of minus n minus 1, the region of convergence is mod Z less than 1, and the Z transform is same as that of u of n, that is Z upon Z minus 1 or 1 upon 1 minus Z raised to minus 1. For a raised to n u of n, the Z transform is Z divided by Z minus a, or we can write as 1 upon 1 minus a Z raised to minus 1 in the negative powers of Z. Here, the region of convergence is mod Z greater than a. For minus a raised to n u of minus n minus 1, the Z transform is same as that of a raised to n u of n, but the region of convergence is mod Z less than a. For the shifted impulse signal, if the shifted value is n naught, then the Z transform is 1 upon Z raised to n naught, or we can write in the negative powers as Z raised to minus n naught. Here, the region of convergence is the entire Z plane except 0 if the value of n0 is greater than 0, and the region of convergence is the entire Z plane except Z equal to infinity if the value of n0 is less than 0. Coming to the other Z transforms, for n into u of n, Z divided by Z minus 1 the whole square, mod Z is greater than 1. For n into a raised to n u of n, az divided by Z minus a the whole square, mod Z greater than a is the region of convergence. And we have so many Z transforms. Not only this, we have the Z transform for cos function, sine function, and all that. So these are all coming under the standard Z transform. Anyway, I didn't write the whole one. If I got the time, I will update my slides and give it to you. The next topic is inverse Z transform. For the computation of an analysis, there need a computation of synthesis part. That is, if we have a forward transform, there will be an inverse transform too. So the inverse Z transform is used to find the x of n from its Z transform X of Z. Symbolically, the inverse Z transform is denoted as uh, symbolically the inverse Z transform is denoted as x of n is equal to z raised to minus 1 x of z. When we compute the z transform of a discrete time sequence, the output, that is the z transform, will be a continuous domain. That is, x of z is a continuous function of z. So to find the inverse transform, we have to take the integral. So x of n will be 1 upon 2 pi j into integral x of z raised to n minus 1 dz. Here the integral is over a closed path, and this path is within the region of convergence of x of z and does not contain the origin. Now let us go for an example. I have to find the z transform of x of z equal to z square into 1 minus 1 by 2 z raised to minus 1 into 1 minus z raised to minus 1 into 1 plus 2 z raised to minus 1. So first of all, I have to multiply the terms so that I will get x of z as z square plus 1 by 2 z raised to 1 minus 5 by 2 plus z raised to minus 1. Comparing with the general equation of z transform, that is x of z equal to summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite x of z raised to minus, x of n z raised to minus n, and expanding here we have only z square to z raised to minus 1. So x of z equal to x of minus 2 z raised to 2 plus x of minus 1 z raised to 1 plus x of 0 z raised to 0 plus x of 1 z raised to minus 1. So the time domain signal x of n will be x of 2 as 1, x of minus 2 as 1, x of minus 1 as 1 by 2, x of 0 as minus 5 by 2, and x of 1 as 1. So this is my time domain signal. So next is methods to find the inverse Z transform. The first is long division method or power series method. Second is partial fraction expansion method, and it is the very important one. And last goes to the residual or conjugate integral method. In the long division method, the Z transform of the signal x of z can be represented as the ratio of two polynomials. That is, x of z can be represented as numerator part of z divided by denominator part of z. On dividing, we get a series as x of z equal to x of 0 plus x of 1 z raised to minus 1 plus x of 2 z raised to minus 2, and so on. That is for a causal sequence. So that we can write x of n as x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, like that. However, for n less than 0, the series can be written as, or for an anti-causal sequence, the series can be written as x of z equal to x of minus 1 z raised to 1 plus x of minus 2 z raised to minus 2 plus x of minus 3 z raised to 3, and so on. So extracting the corresponding sequence, we will get my x of minus 1, x of minus 2, x of minus 3, and so on. So let's go for one or two examples. I have to find the Z transform of x of z equal to 1 divided by 1 minus a z raised to minus 1. Here the region is mod z greater than a. So when computing, I 1 divided by 1 minus a z raised to minus 1, and I will get my coefficients as 1 plus a z raised to minus 1 plus a square z raised to minus 2 plus etc. So my x of n will be 1 a square etc. or a raised to n u of n is my time domain signal. Oh. And second problem, find the inverse Z transform of the sequence x of z equal to 1 divided by 1 minus a z raised to minus 1. Here the mod z less than a. When I compute this, I will get as get the I will get minus a raised to minus 1 z minus a raised to minus 2 z square minus a raised to minus 3 z cube etc. So x of n can be written as x of 0 is 0, x of minus 1 is minus a raised to minus 1, x of minus 2 is minus a raised to minus 2, and like that. So x of n is equal to minus a raised to n u of minus n minus 1. So next is inverse Z transform using partial fraction method. In this technique, the partial fraction expansion is split up into a complicated fraction of the forms that are denoted in our Z transform table. That is, in this method of partial fraction, after expanding the given Z transform expression into partial fraction, we use the listed transform pairs and transform properties to find the corresponding time domain expression. Let us go for an example. I have to find the inverse Z transform of the system function h of z equal to 1.6 divided by z into z minus 0.8 into 2z minus 1. Rewriting the equation, I will get 0.8 divided by z into z minus 0.8 into z minus 0.5. Here the system has three simple poles at z equal to 0, z equal to 0.8 and z equal to 0.5. So the h of z can be represented as a divided by z plus b divided by z minus 0.8 plus c divided by z minus 0.5. So finding the values of a, b and c, I will get the value as of a as 2 and b and c as minus 1. B and c as minus 1. So h of z equal to 2 by z minus 1 upon z minus 0.8 and 1 upon z minus 0.5. Looking at the list of z pairs, we see that the terms on the right hand side of the equation is not ready for the inverse Z transform. So we rearrange them in such a way that h of z equal to 2 by z minus 1 upon z minus 0. 1 upon z minus 0.8 minus 1 upon z minus 0.5 into z inverse. So we get h of z as 2 minus z divided by z minus 0.8 minus z by z minus 0.5. The inverse transform pair in the expression within the square bracket can be written as 2 into, here this can be written as 2 into del of n minus second term can be represented as 0.8 raised to n u of n, and the third term can be represented as 0.5 raised to n u of n. Finally, there is a delay above one sample due to the factor of z raised to minus 1. So the h of n can be represented as 2 into delta of n minus 1 minus 0.8 into n minus 0.8 raised to n minus 1 u of n minus 1 minus 0.5 raised to n minus 1 u of n minus 1. So this is my time domain signal. So if my partial fraction are proper rational polynomials and having simple poles, in that case the zeros of the function are not relevant in this method. Only the poles of the function are needed for my consideration. So the rational polynomial x of z or h of z can be written as numerator part of z into denominator part of z. As we doesn't care about the numerator part of z, the x of z can be represented as numerator part of z divided by z minus p1 into z minus p2 into z minus p3, etc. Here the poles are considered as simple poles. When the order of numerator is less than that of the denominator, the rational polynomial is proper. So we can write x of z as numerator part of z divided by denominator part of z is equal to some a1 divided by z minus p1 plus some a2 divided by z minus p2 plus some a3 divided by z minus p3 and so on. However, on the knowledge of the transform pairs, we expand the function of z, that is x of z is divided by z rather than taking the function x of z as a whole. That is, we have to compute x of z by z or some h of z by z, like that. So x of z by z is equal to n of z divided by z into denominator part of z. So this can be written as some a0 by z plus some a1 by z minus p1 plus some a2 by z minus p2, etc. Computing the values of the constants a0, a1, a2, a3 and obtain my inverse z transform. So let us go for an example. Here I have to find the x of z. Here I have to find the inverse z transform of h of z. That is h of z equal to 2z square minus 2.05z divided by z square minus 2.05z plus 1. So as I said, we have to compute h of z by z rather than h of z as a whole. So h of z by z can be written as 2z minus 2.05 divided by z square minus 2.05 z plus 1. This can be written as 2z minus 2.05 divided by z minus 0.8 into z minus 1.25. So the partial fraction a by z minus 0.8 plus b by z minus 1.25. So compute the values of a and b, we get z as, sorry, a as 1 and b as 1. So h of z is equal to z upon z minus 0.8 plus z divided by z minus 1.25. Now we have to take care of our ROC, and with by considering the value of ROC, I have to find the inverse Z transform from the transform pairs table. So I can take three ROC value. The first value is if the ROC is mod Z greater than 1.25, that is the whole signals are causal signal. So the inverse Z transform x of n is equal to 0.8 raised to n u of n plus 1.25 the whole raised to n u of n. Next, if the ROC is lying in between 0.8 and 1.25, then x of n is 0.8 raised to n u of n, and other is inside the circle, so minus 1.25 the whole raised to n u of minus n minus 1. And if the ROC mod Z is less than 0.8, then the x of n is minus 0.8 the whole raised to n u of minus n minus 1, and next is minus 1.25 the whole raised to n u of minus n minus 1. So this is the inverse Z transform of the system function 2z minus 2.05 2z square minus 2.05z divided by z square minus 2.05z plus 1. So if we next is if we have the multiple poles. For a rational polynomial having multiple poles, the expansion is rather different. Here we have to find x of z by z, and that's equal to numerator part of z divided by z minus p the whole raised to m. Here p is the multiple pole, which can be real or a complex valued. So the expansion is x of z by z can be represented as a1 by z minus p plus a2 by z minus p the whole square plus a3 by z minus p the whole cube plus etc. am divided by z minus p the whole raised to n. So computing the values of here there is no a0, a1, a2, a3 etc. up to am, and obtain the inverse Z transform from our standard table and properties. So let's go through an example. Find the inverse Z transform of the function h of z equal to z square divided by z plus 1 into z minus 1 the whole square. Here I have a single pole at z equal to minus 1 and a multiple pole at z equal to 1. So computing h of z by z, that is z divided, here there is no z square, z divided by z plus 1 the whole square into z minus 1 the whole square. Sorry, h of z by z is equal to z divided by z plus 1 into z minus 1 the whole square, and computing this as a divided by z plus 1 plus b divided by z minus 1 plus c divided by z minus 1 the whole square. Find or compute the values of a, b and c. We get a as minus 1 by 4, b as 1 by 4, and c as 1 by 2. So h of z by z equal to minus 1 by 4 divided by z plus 1 plus 1 by 4 divided by z minus 1 plus 1 by 2 divided by z minus 1 the whole square. So the h of z is minus 1 by 4 z divided by z plus 1, whose z transform is minus 1 by 4 into minus 1 the whole raised to n u of n. This is the z transform of minus 1 by 4 into z divided by z minus 1. Plus next term is 1 by 4 z divided by z minus 1, and whose z transform is 1 by 4 into u of n. Z divided by z1 minus 1 is the z transform of step signal. And coming to the last part, 1 by 2 into z divided by z minus 1 the whole square. So we can write that as the time domain signal is as 1 upon 2 n into u of n. So the whole time domain sequence is minus 1 by 4 minus 1 by 4 into minus 1 the whole raised to n u of n plus 1 by 4 into u of n plus 1 by 2 into n into u of n. Okay. So next is if the order of numerator is greater than that of the denominator. In that situation, we have to proceed with the long division method or the power series method to get the quotient and the remainder. As if x of z is my function or my system function, it can be written as n of z divided by d of z. Here the n of z can be written as quotient part of z into denominator of z plus remainder of z. So the x of z can be represented as quotient into denominator plus remainder divided by denominator. So the x of z can be rewritten as quotient part of z plus remainder part of z divided by denominator of z. Here the order of remainder of z is much smaller than that of denominator part of z. This can be this part, that means that r of z divided by d of z can be processed by the partial fraction method, and we can find corresponding inverse z transform. So till now we are dealing with the bilateral z transform, that is the z varies from minus infinite to, sorry, it is not z, n varies from minus infinite to plus infinite x of n into z raised to minus. So if I am computing the sequence either at the causal part or at the anticausal part, then the transform is known as unilateral Z transform. So unilateral Z transform can be represented as Z u of x of n is equal to x I of n, that's equal to summation n is equal to 0 to infinite x of n into z raised to minus n. This is also known as one-sided Z transform. There is also another one-sided Z transform, that is x of z is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to 0 x of n into z raised to minus n. This unilateral Z transform, it differs from the bilateral Z transform in such a way that the summation is carried only for the interval n greater than or equal to 0 or for n less than or equal to 0. So the unilateral Z transform of x of n can be thought as a bilateral transform of x of n into u of n, or for the anticausal part it is x of n into u of minus n minus 1. The region of convergence of the unilateral is transform is always outside a circle for this case, the above equation case, and it is always inside the circle if I am taking the n values only for the anticausal. So thank you.